Hey everybody, lesson 2 for this week is 6.4, solving proportions. Now we're going to actually split this up into two separate days. So the first day we're going to take a look just at regular math problems. And the second day we're going to look at solving word problems, because proportions in the real world are very, very helpful. And they allow us to solve some things that maybe we're not too sure about. So let's take a look at our first part of our lesson. So in 6.4, we're going to talk about solving proportions. And our learning target is I can solve proportions using cross products. Now we should already know what a proportion is. A proportion is two equal rates or ratios. And a lot of times when we're looking at proportions, we know some of the information, but not all of them. So to figure out what that missing pieces of information is, we're going to use something called cross products. So let's take a look at our box. So our vocabulary box is cross products. And in a cross product, when you're using a proportion, we use cross products to make sure that things are equal. So let's take a look at our model. So I have a proportion for us. It's x over 6 equals 5 over 2. Now I know that that's true, but we need to figure out what x is. So what a cross product is when you multiply the diagonals. So 6 times 5 and 2 times x, those are called cross products. So when I multiply 6 times 5 and 2 times x, I end up with something like this. So there's my 2 times x, and there's my 6 times 5. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simplify this expression. But we should know that 2 times x is just 2x. And then 6 times 5 is just 30. Now to finish that, I need to get rid of that. I need to get rid of that times 2 that's next to our x. So I'm going to draw my line. And I'm multiplying by 2, and the inverse operation of multiplication is dividing. And I need to divide by 2. And we know whatever I do on one side, I need to do to the other. Those 2 cancel out. And end up with x equals 15. So that's an example of what we're going to be doing today. So I broke it up for us. To use cross products to solve proportions, we have 2 steps. We're going to cross multiply, and then we're going to divide. So let's take a look at our examples. We're going to solve the proportion using cross products. Number 1, 12 over r equals 8 over 20. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my lines for my cross products. And I like to always start with my variable. So I'm going to do r times 8. So I'm going to do 8 times r equals 12 times 20. So I'm getting those numbers by looking at my diagonals. Now I'm going to clean this up a little bit. 8 times r equals 8r. And 12 times 20 is 240. Now I need to get rid of that multiplying by r. So I need to divide by 8 on both sides. Those 8's go away. And I end up with r equals 30. So that's all we're going to be doing today. Number 2. T over 4 equals 45 over 18. So I'm going to draw my diagonals, and I'm going to write down my cross products. So I have 18 times t, and I'm just following the arrows, equals 4 times 45. So I'm going to clean this up. 18 times t is 18t, and 4 times 45 is, let's see, what's that, 180? Now I need to get rid of that multiplying by 18, so I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to divide by 18. But whatever I do on one side, I need to do on the other. Those 18s cancel each other out, and I end up with t equals 10. All right, next example. Number 3. I have 9 over 6 equals h over 14. So I'm going to draw my arrows for my cross products. And now my variable's on the other side, but I'm going to still start with my variable because I like to make sure it's on my left side when I'm solving my equation. So I have 6 times h and 9 times 14. So when I clean this up, I'm going to do 6h equals 126. So I'm going to draw my line so I can get rid of that 6. And I know I need to divide by 6. So it's always the number. I'm always dividing the number that's next to my variable. Those cancel out. And I end up with h equals 21. Now I do want to point out that this step right here, a lot of you can probably skip that step and go from the proportion to the writing of this part. It's totally up to you if that's something that you would like to do. Number 4, 24 over 36 equals 10 over x. So I'm going to draw my lines, and I like to always start with my variable. So 24 times x equals 36 times 10. So when you clean this up, I've got 24x, and 36 times 10 is 360. Now I need to get rid of that 24, so I'm going to divide by 24 on both sides. And these 24s cancel out. And I end up with x equals, I'm going to use my calculator for this one, it's 15. Alright, so remember when you're solving proportions, it's 2 easy steps. We cross multiply, and then we divide. Don't forget to work on that iExcel, and let me know on Schoology if you need anything. Bye guys, peace.